Hello and welcome back. I know I said we were going to get into mapping, and my plan is to do just that in this video. But I want to get a couple other things out of the way because I forgot to do them. Our form does need a couple other helpers right now. So we have the submit, we have set from Google Place. We also need a clear. That way, whenever you finish editing it, we know we have sort of a clear one to work with. So this is going to be pretty simple, if I'm not mistaken. Should we call it clear or reset? Let's just do clear, yeah. So here we actually go state equals venue form state dot initial. And oh yeah, we don't have the user ID. How did we do this before? Boom, 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 boom. I don't really want to duplicate this code. Can I just rerun the build function? Does that work? Let's actually just try that. Can I call build just from here? It might. That might just work, and then we don't have to duplicate this. Yeah, let's just try that. We'll kind of like rebuild it. And what I want to do is whenever we, before we actually start setting this, when we're doing a new one, we just want to make sure it's clear. Let's try it that way first. So we'll do .clear. Actually, let me get rid of this for a second. I want to make sure we're in a place where we have that. So if I go new, and even if I search, I guess it's hard to tell because, you know what? We're just going to do it because I know this will work. So we're just going to clear it here whenever we create a new one. It might also be a good thing to do where we actually, whenever we have this, we also clear it, and we can just call that like this. That's probably the better way to go. So let's just try it that way. Okay, so that will clear whenever we are creating a new one. So let's just search for another lovely burger place. Harvey's, cool. I guess the way we can test this, let's just go test 1, 2, 3 here, because although our clear needs to also do a few more things. We're going to build, but we also have to reset our controllers. So we can just go name controller.clear. We can do basically all these, biocontroller.clear, website controller.clear, and Instagram controller.clear. And that is fine. However, we are going to be using this to modify allow you to edit a venue as well. So it might be a better thing to actually have something that just says, and we'll make this a private function. We'll just call it like refresh controllers. What's this telling me? Declaration isn't referenced. Yeah, we will be referencing it. And rather than clearing them, we know based on the state what things are. So we can go name controller dot text is going to be equal to our state dot venue dot name, which when we run this build, when it's doing just the initial, it's going to be blank anyways. So we're going to copy this a bunch of times and paste. And this will become bio. This will become website. This will become Instagram. And we'll just call this when we clear, refresh controllers. And we also want to make sure in the build, after we get this successful thing here, so we return the venue state. Actually, this is fine. This is fine because it will be blank anyways. However, when we add a load function, which, maybe, I wonder if we should do that before we do the map. Maybe we'll do that before we do the map. And that way we kind of have a nice closure on this pattern that we're going to be using in multiple places. Okay, so basically the clear gets called when we do this. So let's just test this out. Let's look for Harvey's again. And we never actually, I wonder if we, maybe it's probably a good idea to also do the clear. Yeah, let's put this back in. We're also going to clear here. So let's just rebuild fully, just kind of start from scratch. And let's look for our Harveys. And I'm just going to fill out kind of a random bio. And if we go back and actually add a new one, doesn't matter what we use here, let's just make sure our bio is clear. Okay, cool. So we are clearing it. Now, the other helper that we want is, let's put clear after submit. That just feels better to me. And then we're going to have a future void called load. And load is just going to take the ID of the venue. So we'll do int venue ID. Okay, so for this load, what we want to do is actually get it from our API. So we can go final await result equals await ref.read, and we'll get our venue service provider dot retrieve. And here we just pass in the venue ID, like that. Now this result is an either, so we'll do result dot fold. Oh my gosh, error. And this is where we could actually go state equals state dot error, or sorry, state dot failure. So failure happened and pass in that error. When it's right, we'll call this venue, because that's what this will be. We got a success back, we have a venue. And now we can actually load this information. So we can just go state equals state dot success and pass in that venue, and that'll update everything. Then after this, we need to call that refresh controllers, so that actually takes whatever venue is in the state and updates them. Okay, so now we have a way to load basically a venue. So let's get some UI for that. So let's close everything for a moment, and we'll go to our venue detail page. Now keep in mind, we are going to have to be doing something in the future where obviously we can't let venues be edited by anyone, only the owner of that venue or like an admin. But we'll get into permissions and all that stuff later. Right now it's kind of an open box, like, you know, you can edit someone else's venue and all that stuff. And that'll be something we'll have to enforce server side, obviously, to make sure you're the owner of it. And we also have to do some UI just to, like, know whether to show the button or not. But we don't want to rely on the UI's logic, because someone could, if it's not enforced in the server, it's completely hackable. But we will get there in the future. Okay, venue not found. This is our thing, and then, okay, this is the screen. Yeah, we're just going to put in the app bar here I wonder if we should restructure this. I kind of want to, instead of returning this like this, let's actually return this. Although I kind of want to have the same scaffold, so the loading, so it doesn't seem weird when it moves over. Okay, this is fine. Let's just put, this is kind of fine. Yeah, this is totally fine. Let's just put a icon button on pressed. We'll do something, and the icon, let's just have a icons.edit. So now we should have a lovely edit button here. Yay! Doesn't do anything, but it will. Now, really, we need to kind of wrap this, because until we need to know that things didn't fail. So we are going to wrap this in. Let's actually wrap the whole app bar in something. So let me actually be probably easier just to do it this way. App bar. We're going to do essentially the same thing. Data.when. So when there's a venue, we're going to return an app bar that is going to have this lovely actions. We also need to account for there potentially being an error. When there's an error, we get the, oh, something's wrong here. No, we're right. So we'll have the error itself and a stack trace, which we don't care about. And here we'll just return an app bar that maybe has a title of text error. We're already showing in the body the error, but we can just have the word error in the title. Lastly, we need a loading. So when it's loading, we're just going to send an empty app bar back. We don't want to have a circular progress indicator. We already have one. There we go. So now we'll see everything's good. Now we actually have access to venue here, so we're able to do stuff, meaning we can also technically make a title here, and we can use the text of the venue.name. Venue could be null. So we can probably handle that just by going if venue equals null. We'll just return an empty app bar. Again, with let's do this. We'll just actually title text. We also have an error if that is null. Okay, so now we know, and if we click on this, we're actually going to see it written up there, which is cool, which means we'll probably also change, this is going to change for sure. We're going to have a whole bunch of stuff here. But now we have an edit button. So how do we do this? Well, if we look at our routes of our venue routes, we actually already have something for our edit screen, right? We're using it. Why do I have this twice? Venue edit screen, venue edit screen. That seems like a mistake. We can just get rid of one. So what we actually want to do is go context.push, and we'll use our venue edit screen.route, but here we actually can pass in venue.id. Because remember, this is kind of being used for two things. We can optionally pass in an ID here, which is going to actually change the route to have that ID. Otherwise, it uses the placeholder ID, which our router uses to kind of build the dynamic URLs. Go back to our routing video if that is not making sense, but it's a really nice pattern and keeps everything really dry because we can change the name of our route in one place and everything will still work. Okay, so this will push there, which is a good start. It won't quite do what we want, but let's just see if that part even works. Go here, edit. We're brought to a form, so that's good. What we want to do though, and we want to go ref.read venue form provider .notifier .load, and remember all we need is the ID, which is all we really, I guess in theory we could pass in the whole venue and do this differently, but the advantage here is int can't be assigned to that. No, it's not null. We already know it's not null. Cool, so I can just do that. Oh right, we should actually wrap this edit button. I don't think it's already the case, but we should do if venue.id does not equal null. There'll also be some logic here for to do check if owner is owner, because we don't want to show an edit button if they can't edit it. Okay, so now that we call this load first, now we probably actually want to await this so that it doesn't come in. Let's actually see how this works. It might actually be totally fine. Go here, we go edit, we actually get odd burger in there, all this kind of stuff, everything's cool. Let's try also updating this, test 1, 2, 3, save. There's an error happening or something, or we're just not accounting for the save when it doesn't exist. We'll come back to that, but that is working as I had hoped, so we are good on that front. And let's actually just create a new one. Let's do Harvey's. And test 1, 2, 3, sure. Save that. Oh, what is happening? Is our save button not hooked up? Venue form. It is. I remember putting it. So maybe we're getting back. Are we not calling our validators? No, we have the validators. Yeah. Okay, so something is happening here. If it state.loading, state.success. Are we not? Okay, let's start here. Print success. And actually, we'll wrap this success like this. Success. Poor man's debugger. Okay, so let's just go and create a new one. Harvey's. Sure. And test 1, 2, 3. Where's all this? Oh, that's the, we need to get rid of that print. That's getting annoying. Success false. So what was our problem here? We can figure this out because, we're getting this error here. So let's actually print out, actually, it could be technically this doing, invalid. Actually, let's do something just for future us. State equals this, invalid, invalid data. Okay, so we have that. Let us create a new one. Okay, so I'm printing that, and I also want to print what the error would be here if something goes wrong. I'm not sure if it's going wrong here or here, but somewhere, wherever we're returning false, something is going wrong. Let's find out. So Harvey's, it's probably something really dumb. I'll click save. Couldn't save venue. Beautiful. So that is happening somewhere in here. Couldn't save venue. Let's just mark these a little bit differently. So couldn't save venue. This is for, oh, okay, both of these. Okay, client.venue.save. So we're getting some error here. Maybe the server will tell us some stuff. Venue save duration. User is not the owner of this venue. We already did put some logic in here. That's awesome. And it's because I'm not logged in. We need to log in. And we know all about that. We just want to, okay, let's just, now that I'm logged in, we're just going to rebuild. And we should be off to the races here. Okay, so let's go Harvey's. And test 1, 2, 3, whatever, save, there we go. Venue saved, Harvey's is there. We can go back here. If we edit this, we should see Oddburger, beautiful. If we go here, edit this, we should see that. Now, now that we've seen some errors happening kind of behind the scenes, let us fix that in our form. So, for instance, when we're editing this, we want to do something where when we have an error, we show it. So I think close to the save button probably makes sense. So we can go if state.error does not equal null. We can essentially put some text here of the state.error, which we know is not null. Thank you. We're going to wrap this in padding. And we'll do a style equals theme dot of context dot text theme dot, do we have error? There's nothing for error, eh? So let's actually just for now do text style color colors dot red dot shade. Let's do like a dark red, shade 700. Okay, and let's force an error somehow, just so we can test this out. Well, actually, one error we can do is let's create a new one. Search for McDonald's. And I'm just going to erase the venue name. And we should see here invalid data. Sure. That's probably not the best word. Let's make that just a tiny bit better. Form provider. We can also get rid of that. What do these things usually say? You know, please fix the errors. Yeah, we can just say like, please fix the errors above before continuing. So we'll do something like that. I also want to, we have sort of this size box here. I think what we will do is actually just do it 16 here and 16 here. That way this kind of gets centered better. Save all. And I do need to fix that issue. What were we doing? McDonald's? Doesn't actually matter. McDonald's. So we'll erase this. And now we should see this. We also want to make sure text align is center. It does look center right now, but if it becomes 2 lines, it'll look weird. Text align dot center. Beautiful. And I just want to put a period here, no big deal. Okay, so that's like one thing that could go wrong. Yeah, this will handle any error technically. Okay, where were we? So we have that. We have the ability to edit them to an extent. Well, actually, no, let's make sure that works. I'm just going to save everything, refresh. I do, like to abuse this refresh button just to be like, we're starting from scratch. There's no weird thing. So let's edit Harvey's. Harvey's 2, test bio, whatever. We'll make it like really long and click save. Could not save venue. So I wonder what that error is. Let's see. Oh, it's still. Oh, is this the one that just happened now? User is not the owner of this venue. venue.ownerID. Did I make this? I wonder if because we made this one before. Did I? No, I made this one while signed in. So there's something wrong with our logic with this. User is not the owner. So venue.ownerID is not equal user.userinfoID. I think it's because this should be just use.id, not userinfoID. So restart the server. And I think this will work. Technically now we don't actually have to restart our Flutter app because this is server-side code. Harvey, sad. There we go. Now we do have this little issue here where this didn't update, but it did update here. So let's fix that. So we have this thing that is going, okay, we're going to refresh the venue list provider. But also, if we go like ref.read, we also have a venue detail provider, which is a family. And if we actually look at this and open up the our code for it, we're seeing that there's an ID we can pass in. So we'll actually take whatever this v.id is. And maybe just to be safe, we're going to go if v.id does not equal null. We'll do that. But instead of reading, we can actually do something called invalidate. And this will essentially mark it. If it was in memory, it'll be like, hey, this data is no longer valid, and it will refetch it when it needs it. So it's a nice, safe way to kind of do a refresh behind the scenes, but it's not actually necessarily going to do the network call if the data isn't needed. So let's try that out. Now, in this case, it will make the network call right away because that form or that page is in the stack that we're going back to. But it's just, yeah, a nicer way than like having to actually force a refresh. And in fact, you can do ref.refresh, and that's fine. However, you get this little warning here in Serverpod saying you shouldn't use this. The only case, like invalidate's better because it's more, efficient. It's only going to be called if it's needed. The only reason you refresh is if you actually need the data now. I can go like final A equals this, and I'll actually get back the async value, blah, blah, blah. So we're just going to ref.invalidate. Okay, so let's get rid of our Harvey's sad and say Harvey's happy. And save that. You'll see right here, it's actually now updated. So our state is just going to stay completely, in sync, and everything's great. And we're not like passing stuff behind the screens, like, in what you'd probably do as an early Flutter developer, like you'd have an await and pass packet to update these things and set state. No, we're doing things much nicer. Okay, so there we go. What are we at? We're 22 minutes in this video. I did want to get to mapping, so let's at least get that started. I am going to go to my browser, pull it over, and we're going to use Flutter Maps or Flutter Map. Hey, look, very recent update. This is a great package. I've used it on a few projects, and I love it. So let's get into this. We're just going to, in our terminal, let's just go here, and we're going to go Flutter pub add Flutter map. All right, so this is just, great package to do mapping in Flutter on, I'm pretty sure all operating systems. I've done it at least on web, and I know it's iOS and Android. It looks like everything. So that's great. Okay, let us get to work on our map. How do we want to start? Well, let's make a map component. Inside venue, we're going to have something called, how do we want to do this? Yeah, let's just call it venue map component .dart. We'll start with a, I'll do a stateless consumer. Venue map component consumer widget, import that, import in material. Not widgets, we want material. Okay, so how does this work? Well, our map itself, we are going to return something called a Flutter map. So Flutter map is the package, obviously, we just installed. And there's some stuff we're going to want to do to, work with this. What I would like to do is work with this like we've been doing everything else and actually build a provider that manages everything about our map state and keep the UI sort of separated. So let's go to our providers, and we're going to make a new file called venue map provider. venue map provider.dart. Okay, so we're going to call this venue map, and it's going to extend our lovely venue map that we'll be generating. And we want to note this with Serverpod. Let's keep this in memory for now. So we'll do keep alive true, and we can come back to that if it makes sense. Okay, part of venue. Look, I'm not forgetting this time. .g.dart. Okay, cool. We need a build function. Build. We are going to return a list of map marker, I think it's called. Marker. I forget what they are called. Let's look at the docs. There is good documentation on this project. Make this a bit bigger. This is the Flutter maps docs. And let's just look at layers. Marker layer. Here we go. Yeah, marker. Marker. This is what we want. Oh, it's just called marker, not marker. There we go. We want to import. So this is going to give us a list of markers. I've done projects in the past with clustering, which is a complicated subject in its own. We're not going to be doing that for this. I don't think, especially the way we're dealing with like hubs and stuff, we're never going to have like that many markers coming back that we need to worry about that, at least probably for launch. So we're really just gonna be getting a list of markers as opposed to like these like big clusters based on your zoom level. So that's what we're gonna be storing in here. This has to be an override, and we'll just return this to start. Let's run our, we can keep that, that's fine. Let's run our build runner and just make sure this works, make sure I didn't forget anything. Now, what I'd like to do, similar to what we're doing kind of with forms, is have some of our global stuff stored in this provider. So we're going to have a map controller. So let's just do of type map controller. This just comes with that package. Map controller equals a new map controller. Yay. So we're going to have that so we can access it outside. Then what has to happen, and the way I'm kind of doing this, I've worked with this package before, so I'm kind of looking over my shoulder at another project. So there might be some things that don't really make sense until it all comes together, but it's all going to come together pretty quickly, I think. But basically, there's something we have to do when the map is ready to be like, hey, the map's ready, do something. So we're going to make a function, a method called handle map ready. And whenever the handle map ready comes, that's when we actually want to go and call and get the data. So in order to do that, we need to essentially fetch our data. So let's actually just call let's go fetch venues. And for now, and we might modify this at some point, but really we want to go ref.read, and we want to grab our venue service provider, and we want to go list. We want to just list all of our venues, and we do have this lovely pagination thing. We are going to change this where instead, we'll probably pass up like a Latin long, and it'll give you the closest 100 or whatever of that. But for now, let's just worry about page 1. And do these have defaults? No, they don't. And let's just make the limit like 100, so we get a whole bunch back. This will probably change. This will be a future void, and we'll make it async. Okay, so we will get this, and we will capture this. Result equals this. Now, of course, like usual, result we have to fold. Error. We'll do something. And here we'll have our venues if everything went well. Let's just for now print the error. If not, we'll go like that. Okay, so what we actually want to do now is get our list of, we need to essentially build a list of markers. So we have these venues. So let's just go something called markers equals, and we can take our venues.map. Venues is not multiple. Oh, it's a venue list, right? So we'll just call this data. So let's do data.results. Again, this will probably change. We'll probably get rid of pagination for this, but let's just keep moving. So we want to map on the results. And so here we'll have a specific venue. And what we want to return is a marker. Okay. Now the marker itself has some required parameters we need. For instance, a point. So let's do a point. And this is of type lat long. And lat long, I believe, is it of type lat long? Hang on. This dot point. Yeah, lat long. Where does this come from? This comes from the lat long package. Okay, we need to import the lat long package, which I think comes with this. It must, if it's referencing it. Yeah, so I'm just going to include it here. It is giving me this warning. It's not a dependency of ours, but we know it's safely here. It's going to be fine. So our lat long we actually want to use for, let's just see how this constructor works. It's just latitude and longitude, positional arguments. So we'll just use venue.latitude, venue.longitude. What else does marker need? It needs a child, which will come after here. Child is a widget. That's kind of makes me sad. You know what? Maybe what we should probably be doing here is actually getting a list of venues. Let's do it that way, because then all we actually have to do is go state equals data.results. Why is that saying? Oh, because we need to run our build runner. Okay, let's just run this again. I just think let's store venues in here. It already has the stuff we need. And then in the UI side, we'll actually map it to a marker. I think that just makes more sense. Before I forget, handle map ready, we want to call fetch venues. Okay, so now we're good there. Let's close that. So Flutter map. Wait, there might be some other things we want to worry about. So handle map ready, we'll call the venues, we'll update the state. Yeah, let's put some other helpers while we're in this side. So we can have a helper that's going to allow us to move to on the map a specific place, and this will use that lat long, we'll call it point. And we can also optionally pass in a double of a zoom. And this will be useful like when we want to tap something to bring you and center it. And we can just take our map controller dot move, and we want to use that point that we had, and then we want to use zoom. We'll use zoom if it gets passed in. If not, we're going to take our map controller's current zoom. Map controller dot. Oh, I thought zoom was the thing. Maybe it's on the camera. Dot zoom. Okay, cool. On the camera. Otherwise, we'll just use whatever it's at right now. So that's a cool helper. And then similarly, let's have a zoom into. Zoom into, like that. No, into like that. And here we'll just add 1. So it's like, and actually, yeah, we'll still allow the zoom to be passed. Usually we probably won't. We'll be like zoom into this, and it'll just increment it by 1 so that we don't have to worry about what it is. It'll just kind of happen. Okay, cool. We're going to also have eventually something to find me, basically to, we'll just put a to-do here because we need to get some geolocation packages and stuff for that. But I think that's pretty good. Okay, back on the Flutter map side. What do we want here? Well, we have a Flutter map. What is it telling us? We need a controller. So let's get access to our provider here. Provider equals ref.read. Our map, what is it? Venue map provider, and specifically the notifier. So for our controller, map controller, we're going to use provider.mapController. There we go. Just like we kind of do on forms. We also need to pass in some options here, and it is just it's map options. And what can we do in here? We can put a center. Now this again is something, initial center. We'll just kind of to do this. I think it's optional anyways, because we need to actually get our user location permissions and stuff for that. But the main thing we want, let's actually set a initial zoom. So initial zoom, let's do 9. That's just a nice number in the middle. We can also give things like a min zoom and a max zoom, which I think like makes sense for this. We don't really want people to zoom out to the whole world. I'm just going to place in some numbers that might make sense. And we want to have an on map. There's an on map ready, which right here we're just going to pass our provider.handle map ready. And we can also do something where on map event, and we can do something like provider handle map event, which I know we don't have yet. Handle map event, let's put this right here, like that. And we might do something in here. Now this actually has a parameter called map event. Well, it's called event. And let's just print out the event. This is things like the user panned, the user zoomed, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so we have that handle map event. Great. Now, just to actually get something beautiful here, let's have, what am I missing? Children, I think. Options, yeah, children is the required field we need. So this is, the children of it is not specifically the map markers, it's actually all the layers. We can have many layers and everything is cool. So let's do a tile layer. That's going to be the layer that is like shows, the map itself. I think we can just leave that blank and we'll just use the default, but we'll find out. If not, we'll come back to it. Then what we actually want is a marker layer. And our markers are essentially going to be based on whatever is in the state. So what we can do is we can get our state. Let's do that. Final state equals ref.watch, our venue map provider. State. Yep, this is a list of venues. So we can actually now do what we were trying to do in our provider at one point to essentially convert these into a marker. So here we actually want to return a marker where we have the point, and the point is going to be a lat long, which we have to import, unfortunately, to get used to let that work. And we just use basically venue.latitude, venue.longitude. Point, and then the child. What is the child in this case? Point, I thought it's just like, let's look at their example docs. Oh, child, Flutter logo. Let's start with that. We actually, yeah, we build our own like UI. And then we have to make sure this gets converted to a list at the end. Because we're mapping, it's just an iterable, it needs to be a list. And we need to have a semicolon there. Cool. Okay. We have a bit of something. This may work, it may not. Let's find out. So we need a way to get to our map. One option is we replace this list with that. I'm going to, first of all, let's go to our venue root screen. Yeah, I'm not sure what the best UX is for this. Like, we could have a button that basically brings you to a map. The map could be the default, or it could be like a segmented controller where you can kind of go between a list view and a map view. Maybe we'll do the segmented controller. That could be kind of cool. Which I'm trying to remember what to do. You know what? We will come back to that UX. For now, let's actually just make the body a venue map component. And there's a good chance we're going to have, yeah, some errors here. Tile URL we need to actually figure out. There we go. Failed assertion. Dependence is empty. Is that coming from this? It might be. Let's rebuild again. Okay, it is coming from that. So I think it's because we don't have our tile layer. Let's actually just get rid of the tile layer and prove it. I think our tile layer needs some more. Yeah, it looks like we have a map now. And if I was good enough, we could, find where I am. But we need our tile layer to work. So for this, what do we want to use? What's kind of cool about Flutter Maps is it's not just Google Maps or like Apple Maps. You can actually use something like Mapbox and all those kind of things. And I'm interested in maybe using Mapbox for this. Let me see if... I think we will use Mapbox probably, but let's just start simpler. We can just use tile street map, which basically what we do for we pass in a URL template. This is essentially a URL to the tile data with these placeholders, Z, X, and Y. Z being kind of like the zoom level, and then the X and Y of that specific tile, and it does all the stuff for us. So it actually allows us to use something like that. Now we do need a, apparently, we need another thing. Do I have a, yep. What is it? User agent package name. So let's just call this com.openMic. We still don't have a name for this, so we'll just call it com.openMic for now. And there we go. We have a lovely map, and its initial location is, where the heck even is this? And it's hard because I have this minimum zoom, maximum zoom, which is a UX choice that I think makes sense. But we can fix that by having an initial center. And I'm going to find the coordinates of specifically where I am, or let's see, Durham region, lat long, without giving away my exact place. So initial, we do lat long, and basically we'll just pass these in. Now, because this is west, it means this is actually a negative. So we're going to do our initial like that. And it's initial, so we need to actually rebuild to get it. And here, oh look, we have some lovely Flutter logos here. Look at that. So there's our, I don't know, Harvey's, there's our whatever stuff that we had in our list. Yay, we have a map. Now this is not the most beautiful map and not the most interactive because I can't really do anything with these things. But instead, maybe what we want to return here is, you know, some kind of icon. And I wonder if there's actually, let's just try something. Icons dot, is there like a microphone? Oh yeah, a mic. Let's use that for now. So instead of the Flutter logo, we can actually have a nice little mic. We'll design this, it'll be cool. But let's actually wrap this in a container. Let's give it a style or a decoration, box decoration. We'll give it a color, colors dot, I don't know what color is nice. Colors dot, it depends what our, let's use purple. Yeah, purple. Purple accent, deep purple. Yeah, let's use colors.deep purple. Let's also give this a width of maybe 32 and a height of 32. And then we will do a box or a border radius dot circular. And we can take half of that, so 16. Then in our thing, in our actual icon, let's center that inside, wrap with the center. And the size is probably fine, but let's make the color colors dot white. Okay, so now we have these cool little mics. Look at them. Boom, boom, boom. We could also add a bit of a drop shadow on them, simply in the container, box shadow. And this is an array of, is it box shadow? Yeah, box shadow. Give it a color, colors.black, like 12, maybe 24, or what's our next one up, 26. We can give it a blur radius of maybe 8 and an offset. Let's do offset of like 2 and 2. So it kind of like pushes the shadow just to the right and left. That looks okay. Again, we're going to design this real nice. Let's make maybe the offset a little bit more. And maybe the blur radius the same as the offset. Something like that. Let's actually try it without an offset and kind of make it more like a glow. Let's just, sometimes it's nice to just use a more darker color to really see what's happening there. Okay, cool. I think we can make this like 8, and then let's go back to our like black 26. Okay, gives a little bit of punch. Everything's cool. Now this is just a widget, right? So we can obviously anything within this child is just a widget. So we can also wrap this with a like a inkwell or a gesture detector. So let's do that on tap, and here let's just go to our venue list component. And so remember what we did here. All we did was go context.push. Now we do need to import this. Import this. And we just push to the venue ID. There we go, Oddburger. Boom, Harvey's. So now we have a way to sort of see this stuff in a map. And it's pretty cool. Now there's much more we can do on the map. For instance, we kind of want to, I think first and foremost, not be using our normal like list pagination endpoint. We want to kind of be able to pass up, hey, here's where I am, like give me the ones close to me. And then we want to make it so that when you move the map or zoom the map, it kind of recalls and lets you kind of move around. that's one. We also are going to want like a find me button, that centers you. And in general, we want to show where I am on the map. Right now, you have no idea. Where could I be? I'm somewhere around here at this exact moment. So yeah, we got a map. That's cool. And what are we at? 45 minutes. I think that's a great time to wrap up this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was a fun one. I had fun. We made a map, at least starting of a map. And it's great. The map package was pretty easy to implement, and there's a lot more power that I'm sure we'll get to at some point. So thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.